going to be a big year for you. I know that you're in the thick of getting married, wedding planning. So I was curious how that's going. I know that you've said that Leah's kind of spearholding that, but just in general, how has it been for you guys so far?
Incredible. Honestly, like we have a friend that's building a big boat, and she's an entrepreneur. Like her story is incredible. She created It's a 10 Hair Care, and she's hosting it on her new yacht, which is going to be an insane, massive super yacht, which we're very excited. Leah's been working with her, Carolyn Aronson, very closely. The problem is we can only have 55 people. So it's hard when you got to tell people you can't come. It is so difficult.
I can imagine. And I know, like you've mentioned, that you kind of are letting Leah take over and handle all of it. But is there anything, like one thing that you were kind of like, can we just have like, this is the one thing I would like to see on our special day?
Honestly, having Leah in my life is the special day, and it's about us. So I'm not making it about everybody there. It's really about her and I. I just love that it's on a boat. So I think that would be the part for me, because I love boating. And that's Leah's really, Chef Dave, our chef from the shows, preparing the food. Yes. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we also recently talked to Malia, and she told us that she was going to officiate it until at the last minute it was kind of shifted around and someone else took over. So I was interested if that was actually true.
Here's the thing, like that too, like Captain Kate McHugh from Celebrity Cruise Ships also offered to officiate the wedding. And our showrunner, who's been in my life for 8 years is Nadine Rajabi. Is the person who's going to officiate our wedding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
And so I was going to ask, is there anyone else from the Below Deck cast, maybe like present or past, that you invited to your wedding?
Honestly, we're still combing through the guest list. Leah and I, it's kind of hard, the split. So you want your intimates there, right? So you want your friends that have been in your life for a long time. So that's, over the years, you develop friends, and I travel a lot, so I develop friends everywhere, and we are still working on the list. But yes, there will be some Bravo celebrities at the wedding.
Okay, perfect. And speaking of Below Deck, I have to ask you about this season, because I feel like some things were mentioned to you, but there's a lot that you didn't see or were not aware of until, I'm sure, as it was airing. So I'm very curious for your takes on things as you're seeing them on screen. Specifically, the Kyle of it all, I feel like he did come in kind of hot. There was kind of like some defensive stuff going on. But in terms of his argument with Max, where Max kind of said that he considered himself part of the LGBT community because he's an ally, that kind of triggered Kyle. Watching it now, do you think that Kyle was maybe still in the wrong, or do you think there was maybe a reason why he then got so defensive and started that argument?
So as far as Kyle, Max, it's sad when alcohol is not a lot of people's friends. I don't think Kyle would say that if he was not under the influence. Kyle's a great human being, just like Toomey and Natalia and Max. Moments happen when people are in that, that mode psychologically. And I think probably Kyle regrets it. I'm sure Kyle regrets a lot. And I think he's actually admitted it on social media. And that's what I really like about Kyle, is that he does own it after he does it. If he could just prevent it by, what's on his lungs, on his tongue, he has no filter. And sometimes you can think stuff, but just don't use those words, because it does impact other lives.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, has your opinion of him changed? Would you work with him again? It does seem like you kind of understand of what was happening with him at that point.
I would work with Kyle again, Toomey, Natalia, all of them, because it's about giving people opportunities, right, to change. How do you know if people want to change when you give them the opportunity to show you that they're going to change? So otherwise, why would they change if no one gives them the opportunity? Of course, I would give them all the opportunity to show me that they will change.
And also, I watched last night's episode, and I was curious if that has ever happened to you before, where a guest goes down into the crew quarters and starts like opening doors as the crew is sleeping? Or was that maybe your first time experiencing something like that?
I've been doing this a long time. The crew have to have their privacy, and usually when you tell the person, they stop, just like in this case, he stopped. We had that conversation, and they sobered up and regretted every inch of it. It's like, I wish I would have never walked down those stairs. Again, alcohol related.
Yeah. And so another kind of cast member who appeared kind of on thin ice with you was Luca. And I know that, later on in the episode, you did discuss the fact that it was more so that the stews, they should have called someone up, even though all of that was happening. But I was curious, do you think he could have maybe figured out that sleeping schedule better, especially because Laura was always getting kind of not enough sleep? Do you think some of that was on him, or do you think it was just a very hectic charter?
Let's remember, Luca had never been a bosun before. So scheduling, also in the real world of yachting, I wish everybody could get the, 8 hours of sleep, but that's not reality. We have, MLC, Maritime Labor Convention, has mandated that we all get a certain amount of hours of rest. If we choose to sleep in those hours, that's our choice. If we choose to work in those hours, that's our choice, as long as it's documented that these are your hours of rest. In those moments when you're needed, crew aren't going to go to bed. They're going to have each other's back. Luca did the best he could given the circumstance that he was thrown into. As far as I'm concerned, he did me a favor, and he rose to the occasion. I think he has the respect of his deck team, and Laura is very eager, and I'd love to have her back as well. And it's a learning curve. Not everyone's going to be perfect out of the box. He had to learn. Yes, I got upset, and he needed to see the severity of why. And so that changes. We all make mistakes, or not even a mistake. It's a learning. And then when you feel the severity of that mistake, or, not knowing, then you make sure that you understand and learn what not to do the next time. I didn't become a captain without making mistakes. And
also, last night's episode ended up with you having a conversation about Lily, with her job. And I just wanted to ask, since the season is wrapped up, what do you think caused all of this just interior drama and messiness? And do you think that Toomey handled it as best as she could on her end?
Listen, Toomey, again, first time she's ever been a chief stew. It's a learning for her. She was becoming wiser when she could, you have to rise 30,000 feet. I think Toomey started to and realized Kyle was in the center of the tornado. It's a growing for Toomey and a learning. And I think that she will continue in her career, and she's excellent. And I'd have Toomey back tomorrow. Why the drama happens is because when you put people in a little boat, contained area, and they're working nonstop, and then they're going out and, living it up, emotions are going to come out, right? And so when you're drinking alcohol, you have no filter anymore, and it just comes out. And sometimes it's, oops, I wish I could take that back. I'm sure a lot of them think that. Lily was awesome. She was a joy to have on board. She had to learn too, She's great. And I love them all. Like, honestly, except for Ruan, I would never have him back because I could never trust him, because that's a big deal to do what he did.
Check out since that stuff aired and like all of that became a thing, or no?
No, not for me. I don't know. Maybe for him. I have no idea.
Yeah. And so I was also curious, because you did mention you have to kind of work and sleep all in the same place, but would you ever want Leah to kind of make an appearance, maybe a little cameo on Below Deck, or are you okay keeping that separate?
No, yeah, sure. I mean, obviously we're filming a TV show, so you don't really see a lot of that, but yes, just stay tuned. Maybe that'll happen.
Okay, perfect. And so My last questions were kind of just about BravoCon. I was curious how that went. And was there any Bravo celebrity that you met for the first time that you were really excited about? Was there anyone that you maybe wanted to meet but didn't get to?
BravoCon was epic. And for those of you that are reading or watching, you got to come next year. The way we were handled as talent was so professional. The fan experience is why we're there. It was really cool. They put us all in one green room, so you got to meet everyone. Mm-hmm. You just sit down in these random tables with cast members you've never met before. You have these conversations. It's pretty cool. Plus, you have the executives from NBC Universal there, which is also cool. And it's like we all mingle together, and it's a great one big family. So we're part of this beautiful family that I feel so blessed to be a part of. And I love being a part of the network.
And what is it like reuniting with all of the Below Deck captains at once? Because I feel like that's a pretty iconic moment, just having all of you guys together in one room.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because you get to hear their experience and what they go through. And, we share the knowledge. It's knowledge sharing. And that's really cool. And when I watch the show, I always want the drone footage so I could see where I pivot, because I always want to improve my skill set, right? And I'm like, man, why didn't that make the cut? I just want to see my pivot point on the boat. So when I swing between the ground lines, I know how to drive in. So we have those kind of conversations.
Do you watch the other Below Deck shows, like in addition
Sure.
to Below Deck Med? Yeah?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Did you watch, I was curious what you thought about Joao, because he came back on Below Deck Down Under recently. How do you think he did over there?
I can't be more proud of Joao right now because he's a captain and he's running a boat. He has a crew. He's learning. I am so proud of him. I wish Malia would do that. So Malia's a chief officer on a big boat, and her idea is to step on a very large vessel. Mm-hmm. I like the way Joao's doing it because he's starting on smaller ones, which a 40 meter isn't so small. And he's going to have the knowledge of problem solving as a captain and decision making. Whereas if you're stepping from first officer right into a big boat, you're not really making those decisions or feeling that responsibility. Joao, I believe in starting smaller and growing in size. I think it's you gain more knowledge that way because you are the ultimate decision maker, and that's really the responsibility.
And just speaking about Malia, I know that you made a little appearance on Winter House, so I was curious what that was like, that experience, seeing Malia, seeing Riley, also joining with Leah for a quick second.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. Kody. Kody was with Leah, not Riley. But it's pretty awesome. Malia, she was funny. She goes, "You think we're actually going to ski?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." She goes, "No, we're going to talk." It was fun. And then we got to do one run together. So, yeah, it was fun. We went in for the day. I skied, we hung out, and then we left.
So thank you so much for speaking to me today. And I wanted to start out by asking you about Azuna and asking you about the product and how you kind of utilize it at home and, at work.
So I met Scott Dancy about 2 years ago, and on yachts, we've always used tea tree oil to treat, we put it at the base of air conditioners to eliminate odors, bacteria. It neutralizes the mold, mildew, and smells for the health and wellness of our team on board. And so basically, Scott had Azuna Fresh, and we needed something a little more solid where it doesn't spill, as you're going to see. So we created this product called TT Marine, and it's for boats. And obviously, Azuna Fresh has also in-home for houses as well. They have sprays, wipes. It's a great product. I've always used tea tree oil products until I met Scott. Now I'm, totally into Azuna. It's also about the people behind the product. I don't think you can go wrong with tea tree oil because it's all natural. And it's about the people behind the company. Obviously, there's a lot of competitors out there, but I choose Azuna and TT Marine because it works. And it's the people involved It's like if you have, any product, right? So, I'm on boats a lot and I prefer different builders over other builders. Obviously, there's quality control and things like that. However, it's always about the people behind the product.
And so I went on their website and I noticed there's a lot of scents. So I was wondering, is there like a specific scent you would recommend, or do you just love all of them?
I don't really, the scents, it's not about creating a smell. Mm-hmm. So tea tree oil eliminates odors. Azuna eliminates odors. It doesn't create scents. I think they create a scent because tea tree oil is such a strong scent. It dissipates in 24 hours, so you don't really smell anything. The idea is to eliminate odors, bacteria, mold, and mildew that's floating in the air. And I don't have a favorite. I just love it all.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and for speaking with me and for answering.
I just want to talk about this one more time. AzunaFresh.com is Scott Dancy and his team behind that company is what makes the company. The product's solid. TT Marines for these people. It does eliminate odors. And I got to say this, every boat deal that falls through, the majority of those boat deals that fall through is due to smell, bad odors. TT Marine, Azuna Fresh, does not. It eliminates the odors, and that stops the deals from falling through. So just for those boaters out there that are listening.